the Dogman Cometh. What up, y'all? Welcome to the Dogman Cometh. That's the name that I've given this segment. I came up with it after I recorded the first video, but this one is about Dogman encounters and stories in Louisiana, which is they have some rather strange stories down there, man. They're entertaining though, and they're interesting. I've read quite a lot about the Rougarou, and it's not all the Rougarou is not always seen as a werewolf or dogman type creature, but a lot of people say that's what it is. A lot of people believe Sasquatch to be what the Rougarou is. Some people believe it's a spirit or a demon. It just depends on where you're from, I guess. But anyway, let's get into it today. I've got two stories, well, two encounters from Louisiana, and the first one is about a dogman that has been seen down by a river in Woodworth, Louisiana back in 1987. The story reads, "The next morning, I made my way toward the metal wire fence, which somehow, I don't know why, had been bent on both its top and bottom inwards, toward the center of the fence. I was about to duck under it when I heard the distinct sound of sniffing. So I turned to see what it was. Standing on the other side of the stream was a 7 to 8 foot tall creature sniffing the air. Its head was turned slightly. The first thought that entered my mind was, oh my God, werewolves are real." Well, yeah, that'd be the first thing that entered my fucking mind too. "It stood on two powerfully built, muscular legs, which ended in enormous paws. It had no tail. It had a massive chest, as well as extremely muscular arms and hands. The hands seemed to have the same kind of pads that a paw has, but they were arranged differently. It had a wolf-like head and tall, pointed ears. The eyes glowed red. The ears were in proportion to the head. It had a snout or muzzle, and it kept sniffing the air as it stepped over this massive tree trunk like it was nothing. I would have had to physically climb it to get over it. I thought it was coming after me, but it stopped and seemed to be breathing or panting, but there was this deep rumble that accompanied it. I decided to get out of there before it did see me and ducked up under the fence. I ran to my bike, which was parked off the road, and pedaled my ass home." Yeah, yep. I'd be pedaling my ass on too. One of these things ain't something anybody wants to mess with. Pardon me, clearing my throat. The second story is a little bit longer of a story. It's about a werewolf chasing a man and his dog through the woods, and it's out of Leeville, Louisiana, not too far back in 2012. It reads, "Then I heard brush and a smaller sized tree shake and another growl. I shined my light in the direction of the sound and saw a pair of eyes that were reflecting an amber yellow color." These things seem to have different colored eyes or eye shines, or it's I guess the color of the eyes vary from encounter to encounter, or from creature to creature rather. Anyway, what surprised me was the fact that the brush was about 6 foot high and the eyes were about a foot above the brush. When I saw those eyes, I slowly backed up while keeping my light on the thing. As I walked back to the turn to head back to my truck, which was parked about a quarter of a mile away, it came out of the woods. I lit the thing up with my light again. Now I was probably 30 feet from it. I saw its whole body and face. The body was covered with black hair, with some brown mixed in. The hair was thickest around its head, neck, chest, and upper back. It looked a lot like a lion's mane, but wasn't as pronounced. Since all of the hair was the same color, it wasn't as pronounced, I guess. It says it had pointy ears with a little bit of hair coming off of the points, like tufts, making the ears seem a little longer. It stood on two legs, but the legs were weird and backwards like. So it was the type of dog man that stands on hawks. Vic Cundiff says they're called canine type dog men. The arms were really long, longer than the legs. Its hands were like a mixture of human and bear, like a really big raccoon's front paws. It had paws, but it also had fingers, is what it says. Like they were finger-like, like a raccoon's hands. That's the only way to describe it. If you watch the movie The Howling, you'll get an idea of what this thing looked like. It's as if whoever made that movie knew something others didn't. I'm sure they do. You'd be surprised what's kept hidden from the public in this world. Now at this point, I was freaking out, so I pulled out my rifle. I hunt with a Romanian AK with a camo paint job I did myself. The way I was hunting wasn't exactly legal. That's why I took my Romanian AK. If I had to toss it, I wouldn't be out too much money. The rounds I used are special rounds made to hunt feral hogs. I've dropped deer and hogs with these rounds before. One shot and they're done. But back to the story. As I pulled my rifle up to the ready, it growled and walked a few steps toward me. I fired a round right into its chest area. I knew I had hit it because the creature took a step back. As it stepped back, I ran toward my truck. That's when it let out a loud growl and a howl like I had never heard before. I grew up hunting and fishing and thought I knew everything in the woods, but I hadn't heard anything like the sounds it made before. As I ran back to the truck, it stalked me, but kept its distance. Well, probably shouldn't have fucking shot it, dude. I mean, I can understand why you would, though. That fear of seeing one of these things is palpable. I mean, there's this primal fear, brother. And I can't blame you, although now I understand that it's probably not too good of an idea to shoot it unless you've got, a good amount of firepower behind you. I'm talking about a large caliber gun. And I mean, if you see something like that, your best bet's just to try to get as far away and put as much space between you and it as possible. But anyway, that's all I've really got, as of the moment. I'm gonna do another episode sometime down the road about more stories out of Louisiana, because they have some of the, I think it's just some of the best environment for a werewolf story. The swampy areas, the forested areas, the marshlands. And it's the same way with vampire stories when it comes to Louisiana. I mean, the French Quarter in New Orleans, there's no better, environment for a vampire story than that. And I digress. This show isn't about vampires, is it? No, it's about dogmen. But anyway, I guess that since that's all I've got for this episode, I'm gonna be about this bitch. Whoop whoop, holla holla holla. I'm Belil Black. This has been the Dogman Cometh, and I will see you next time. Take it easy.